It was a Wednesday, and my shift starts at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, which is kind of in the middle of the morning show shift. They've just gotten off air. So Fred Weinfurt, who was our morning photographer at the time, and I had both met up basically exactly in this spot, and there was this shadow that just flew right past the window. And both of us instantly stopped conversation. Hair went up on the back of your neck, and you immediately knew that something very bad had just happened. I immediately started screaming, "Call 911." We both ran down to our cars, grabbed our gear, and ran outside. When we opened the doors from the building outside, you could just feel the heat. You could feel the heat coming off of that helicopter to the point where it almost felt like it was going to knock you over. It was so hot, and it was coming at you so fast.
You can see by this wreckage, a couple of cars are involved in that wreckage where the chopper did go down there, right in front of the Space Needle, and that fire continues to burn as firefighters are literally showing up here right now as we show you these live pictures here, and they're starting to put some water on the burning wreckage, which includes the helicopter and at least one or two cars that look like they were hit.
It took me probably 6 months to drive on this road. I just couldn't do it. I just could not drive on this section. Even though it's the entrance to work, I always went around. I just couldn't drive past it.
You know, you have to build a little wall inside your brain. You can't let the emotions completely take over. You need to be a human being, and you have to impart your information the way a human being would, but you cannot let the human emotion of the situation completely overtake you, or you can't do your job. My job when I walked in that door was to get up here and start talking about that crash, and so I did it. They're talking to us in our ear. She said it was Strothman.
As we have reached the point here where we can talk about the two people that we have lost, this will be a very difficult time.
It is a tough day already, and this is even tougher to be able to see this picture and talk about Bill Strothman.
Bill Strothman is a photographer who worked many years at Como.
Bill is a huge loss. He was a very dear friend. When I first started, he was definitely one of those people who was a mentor. His loss is still really hard, even though it's been almost 2 years. You learn to live without them, and it's really hard to do. And you just gotta try to remember how much joy they brought into the world before they were taken.
Every year for Dad's Weekend, the Webster Science Building hosts an annual pumpkin drop and physics demonstrations where students can showcase their knowledge for people of all ages. The students use hands-on experiments to show just how physics really works, and usually leaves children in awe.
A lot of kids had fun trying to guess how it would work or why it didn't work at certain times, and it was really interesting working with them in that regard. A lot of them were a lot smarter than I thought they were going to be. A few kids actually got it just spot on.
Something that has a function, tell them about that.
While the physics demonstrations were one of the main attractions, other kids liked looking at skulls and fossils, but everyone was in anticipation for the main event, the pumpkin drop.
This is our 11th year doing the pumpkin drop. We usually start planning it about a month beforehand. The past pumpkin drops we've had donations from Safeway, Walmart, other grocery stores in the area, as well as several farmers, local farmers from the area and farms.
As the audience gathers below, they will get to see pumpkins drop from the 6th and 12th floor of Webster. The first pumpkin drop usually happens as the crowd gives the final countdown. To surprise the crowd and make the pumpkins break a little differently, the students like to add liquid nitrogen into one pumpkin.
So liquid nitrogen is a ultra cold liquid, and it's actually the nitrogen that's in the air is the same stuff that's liquid nitrogen, just much, much colder. So when you put a pumpkin in it, it eventually gets so cold that the pumpkin stops being squishy and spongy and starts becoming more and more like glass. So if you throw it, it shatters into thousands of pieces.
The physics department will look to celebrate its 12th annual pumpkin drop next Dad's Weekend. For Murrow News 8, I'm Bradley Hegland. After coming off a big win last week against the Moscow Bears, the Pullman Greyhounds look to continue their success this week against the Timberlake Tigers. A lot of practice and film study goes into preparing for an upcoming game, but more importantly, Pullman High School emphasizes having a positive team atmosphere and how that correlates to winning.
Well, it's an 11-man game, you know. It doesn't work with 10. It doesn't even work with 12. So, you know, if you do not have a team atmosphere, you don't have a winning team. That's a fact.
While some players on the team have never played football, others, like linebacker Jed Byers, has a family rich of football tradition.
My whole family's been in football. My dad was in football. He played college up at Idaho. My brother played football. He played up at WSU. And then like my step grandpa and my other grandpa also played football at Idaho.
This is the field where the Pullman Greyhounds are going to try to extend their winning streak when they face the Timberlake Tigers Friday night. The Greyhounds are ecstatic before playing in their second home game of the season, led by head coach Dan Lucier and assistant coaches Broderick Cobbs and Jared Byers, who's also the brother of player Jed Byers.
It's pretty fun. We joke a lot at home. Like, if I do something that he doesn't like, he'll probably just say, like, run a hill. I'm like, you run a hill. Like, we joke around it a lot. But he's always harder on me, usually than other, like, linebackers or running back, because, you know, he knows, like, my full potential and he knows what I should live up to.
The confidence of the Greyhounds before the game correlated into points on the field, and just like WSU, Pullman High School fires off a cannon after each score. With their team chemistry on point, the Greyhounds never stopped racking up the touchdowns throughout the game. As the clock winds down, the Greyhounds secured their best record since 2005 with a landslide 47-20 victory over the Timberlake Tigers. With the long road ahead of them, the Greyhounds look to continue this hot streak and climb the ranks to become one of the state's best football teams. The Pullman Greyhounds look to extend their undefeated season as they travel to Spokane to play West Valley. For Murrow News 8, I'm Bradley Hegland. As the leaves fall and the temperature drops, it can only mean one thing in the Palouse: Halloween time. On October 23rd, 24th, and 30th and 31st, downtown Palouse features 2 haunted houses and a haunted trail ride. The event, which has been going on for 14 years, has been coined the Haunted Palouse.
14 years ago, a group of chamber members decided that we needed to do a whole town fundraiser. We thought, well, let's give it a try. Why not, you know? And so we wanted to raise monies for our museum next door because it needed a ton of renovations.
With the help of volunteers, the Haunted Palouse has not only been popular, it has been a financial success. Through the first 13 years, the Haunted Palouse has made over $400,000, which funds many nonprofit groups, including the Palouse Museum and the Palouse Area Robotics Team. but their goal each year is to ultimately scare people.
One of the frequently asked questions on our webpage is, what happens if I get too scared and I can't continue? Can I get my money back? And our reply to that is, you got your money's worth. We did our job, we just did it quick.
The city of Palouse provided a very frightening scenery, but it wasn't until you got inside the 2 haunted houses that you realized the fun and games were over.
Any volunteers to be my new assistant on the spinning wheel of death? She's got it. You got it? You think so? Do you trust me? No. All right, then move along. Trust is very important in this.
After the haunted houses, you can satisfy your appetite with some wood-fired pizza and other delicious treats from Hearth of the Dragon.
So what I'm doing for Haunted Palouse tonight is I have a catering business, and we are going to be selling wood-fired pizza here tonight, and we have brownies and hot chocolate and coffee that we're also offering.
After another great year, the participants look forward to celebrating their 15th anniversary next Halloween.
I just would like everyone to know how fun this is, and that they should definitely come out and do this once while you're living here. If you're just on the Palouse for 4 or 5 years going to college, come out and do it once, because it's an experience you will never find anywhere else.
For Murrow News 8, I'm Bradley Hegland.